Okay, I think I have everything situated. Let me adjust this. Okay. So welcome, Sunday night. I don't have my partner in crime here, Steve. He's actually back home in South Carolina. But real quick, can you hear me on Facebook? That's you can. And the software that I normally use for Facebook to go live, it hasn't been working. I don't know what's going on with that. So I'm just using this. Other than that, all right, and then on Instagram. So hopefully Facebook, you can hear me, and Instagram, I know you guys can hear me, so it shouldn't be any problem. Tonight, we're doing it a little different. Oh, you know what? Since we're doing it this way on Facebook, I need to be able to see. All right, there we go. Now I can see the comments. So on Facebook, still nothing on Facebook. That's weird. It might just take a minute if you're on Facebook. So let's just hope it comes live, because I see people on Facebook watching. Let me get cozy here. That's my mom's word, by the way, cozy. But tonight we're going to do Ask Me Anything. But so any questions you have, by all means, go ahead and ask, and we'll go from there. But an update. So one of the updates is I'll move over and make sure that you can see this. 2D90 soft tops in the back. They just showed up. So the first one is Keswick Green with the galvanized bumper you see sticking out. And then the other one is a blue. It's a Skoda blue. I wish you could really see the color of the Skoda blue. It's pretty interesting. So today I had 3 guests come and look at fenders, and everybody made over the blue. They love the blue color, and it was pretty interesting. So over my shoulder here, you could possibly see, here's Elizabeth and Aintree green, but probably looks black, which is interesting about an Aintree green, how it looks black in the shade, or a cloudy day it always looks black, but it's green. So the one guest, they came, a couple, and they were set. They were 100% set on Aintree green. On the drive here, they seen the pictures, they watched the videos and everything, and so that's what they wanted us to build one for them like that. And she got here, and it was pretty funny that Elizabeth was in the front of the building, and she's like, oh my gosh, I love it, I love it. And then we walked around the side to look at something different, and she's seen the blue one sitting here in the workshop, and she's like, what is that? And she beelined right in to take a look at it, and just fell in love with it. So what was originally going to be Aintree green with chestnut leather interior, it ended up into our Bespoke blue interior. So a light colored interior. It's going to be a D110. It's going to have a white top. It's going to have mahogany in the back, I believe. It's going to have the big brakes. So it's going to have a lot of, it's going to be a fabulous build. Let's just put it that way. So I'm excited to build that, because this blue, you really do have to see it in person. The video, the pictures just does not do it justice. It's a great color. And then of course we have a Bahama Gold D110 double cab in process, almost done. We are almost wrapped up with the D110 double cab, and it's in Bahama Gold with a dark roof. The roof is a blackish brown color. It is on, I'm still deciding if I'm going to go with 37-inch tires, which would be larger than Enzo, or a 35-inch tire, but it is going to be lifted. It's going to have a full roll cage. It's going to have a winch. It's going to have chestnut interior. So I'm really excited about that, because Bahama Gold is probably one of my favorite colors. That it's just fabulous color. So as I'm just rambling on here talking about things, by all means, just ask your questions. Anything I can answer, let me know. I'm more than happy to answer it for you. Let me kind of give you a little bit of knowledge about Helderburg too, because I do get asked the questions a lot of for example, people are always asking us to restore their Defender, and we don't do that. And there you go, Heather and Jordan, they are set on blue. Thank you, Heather. So I'm excited to do that one too. Anyway, so we don't restore others' Defenders. We don't do that. We only do our own, and really the reason being, I mean, there's a number of reasons that we do it that way, but that way, if we're restoring our own, we know exactly what we're getting into. We know how much work it's going to be. So that's why we only restore our own vehicles. However, if you're, if you need some guidance for a restoration, I can send you to a couple different capable people that can do it for you. But we just, and it's all we can do to just do the restoration of our own, and it's kind of what we do. So anyway, with that, June 18th through the 20th, mark your calendar. Yesterday, we were scouting the trails, and I know, trust me, I know I got some grief from some of you Kevins and Karens, and that's the weirdest term, but anyway, I'm going to use it for you guys that you know who you are. Oh my gosh, the video which you were going through with Enzo, really, you didn't need to do all of that. I will tell you that you cannot get the perspective of an incline of a hill, the washout of a road, or anything else when you're watching on video or looking at pictures. There is some of you that know that I am no sissy when it comes to adventure and off-road and doing crazy stuff. But when it comes to Enzo, it's important that I don't get Enzo hurt. And there was the one road, or not a road, it was a goat trail, and it was washed out, and trying to get through it. So it was, it was a little crazy, but we decided we're not going to use that trail because it was just too much. There was one part we got into, and you would have to actually go up on your side and have a roll cage to get through it, and that's where I said, we're not doing that. We're not going to get Enzo scratched or anything else. So Nicholas, thank you, sir. He says loves watching that I put my heart into him, and I do. And one of the guests I had today, he asked me, he goes, why should I pick Helderburg versus someone else? And my answer just blurted out, and it wasn't me, and I afterwards I thought, well, that was kind of arrogant, but I simply said we build better Defenders than anyone else, and that's kind of arrogant, but and I didn't mean it that way. I just meant that I'm not doing this for the money. I'm not doing this to just sell Defenders. I love the design. I love coming up with the concept and making sure that everything matches and creates a persona, creates a theme, there is a point where you're looking at different Defenders and you just go, something's not right. And you just can't put your finger on it of what's not right. And that's what I love, is making them right, making them beautiful. So that's why I enjoy it so much. And then what I also do too is I am a little, well, let's just say a lot. I'm very particular in the way that I want everything, the way I want the dishes in the cabinet, the way that I want things lined up on the table when I'm having dinner, just very particular, and very particular in the Defenders in the way that I want things. So it's, and it takes time, because I have a number of clients who's like, when is it going to be done? Can we get it done? And I'm like, it takes time. The stitching of the seats, it has to be right. And there's been many of seats that I've sent back and said, no, that's not right, do it again. So those are very important things, that the stitching has to be right, the leather has to be right, the colors have to be right, the shades have to be right. I mean, all of that is very, very important, and that all takes time. So here's some questions. Do our vehicles have navigation? And the answer is yes. We have Apple CarPlay in our vehicles. So we can do the Apple CarPlay, or we can do the one that has the straight out navigation system. The one with Apple CarPlay is the smarter choice, because then when you update the software in your iPhone or your Droid, then everything's updated. Your maps are updated and everything else. It has navigation, has a backup camera, it has heated seats, we can do power windows, we can do central door locks, we can do puddle lights on the mirror, so yeah, we can have all that. So navigation, yeah, easy. Another thing, one of the guests that I had today, squirrel, hopping back, where he was saying, why should I choose you guys? And, it's the parts, the things that we do, that it was, how do I make these vehicles become where they're a daily driver and where they're highly dependable and they have the power? So that was the biggest thing. So we do a lot of things that are not the norm, but keep that purity to that design and give you a lot of power, a lot of, drivability, fun factor, longevity, great fuel mileage, so a lot of things. So Nicholas just asked, do I prefer the diesel or the gasoline engine? And I can say without a doubt, and I think a lot of you guys know what I'm going to say, without a doubt, diesel. I much, much prefer the diesel over the gasoline engine, and for a few reasons too. The first reason is the cost of ownership of a diesel motor is a lot less than what it is on the gasoline motor. So the diesel, you don't have to do tune-ups. Really, all you have to do is change the oil, and it goes. That's why the diesel is a fabulous engine. Also, the diesel, the way it drives is it's just how can I explain it? It's a much more planted feeling. It's a much more powerful. It's much more powerful feeling, is what it is. So it's you're dealing with torque, so you can feel the power, the grunt of when you shift it in, shifting through the gears and you're going over stuff. You can just feel it's got all of this just a tremendous amount of power that you can feel, versus the gasoline just feels, you can get a lot of horsepower out of it, but it's just not as much fun. Also, too, the diesel motor, it doesn't have that exhaust smell of a gasoline, so it's you don't get out of a diesel smelling bad. So if you have to wear, you don't want to smell like exhaust, and that's what happens with the gasoline. The gasoline jobs, unless you convert it over to a fuel injected, has a carburetor, so you have carburetor adjustment. So that's one of the things there too. Vincent asked, what is the average miles of the D110? For longevity with the D1, the motor, diesel motor, you can go 500,000 miles, 500,000 miles. Only thing you'll have to do is change a timing belt, which is on the front of the motor, very easy. Average miles on our trucks, when we are finding our trucks, because we find them in Italy and Poland and France, they're original left-hand drives, generally they're between 40 and 60,000 miles before we do the restoration. And then after we do the restoration, which is a ground-up restoration, when someone gets it from us, it generally has around 300 miles on it. So there's that. What other questions do you have? Let's see. Steve says he can vouch for the degree of the difficulty of the trails. Yeah, I tell you what, the one trail we went down, it was so funny. Because the road superintendent here, I said, we need some trails. And he's like, oh, go here. Go down Sharon Road, go to the Honey Hill, whatever, and turn left at the milk can. And I'm like, what? Turn left at the milk can? I mean, that sounds like, that it just made no sense. And sure enough, we got down the trail, and sure enough, there was the milk can. And we turned left. And the decline was, well, to get to the milk can, all the rocks that we had to go over, all the different canter, and oh boy, it was fun. And mossy rocks. I mean, it had the moss and it was wet and muddy and everything else. And wow, yeah, it was interesting. So, all right. What's the specs on your performance-tuned diesel engine power and torque? And cheers from Norway. Thank you, sir. All right, so performance tuned. So what is the performance tuned? Performance tuned is a 300 turbo diesel motor. But what it is our performance tuned, we have a custom fabricated intercooler. And we have two different intercoolers. The first one is a quad core intercooler. And the quad core intercooler is 4 times more efficient than a standard intercooler. And then we have our full performance intercooler, what is the entire width of the radiator. So it's where you look at the grills like Elizabeth, the intercooler is the entire width, which is 20 times more efficient than what the standard intercooler is. But it's full width and full height of a radiator. And then it has a fan pack on the back to basically pull more air into it. Because as you know, combustion, if you want a hotter burning fire, you need more air. So intercooler is the first aspect of what we're doing for the performance tune. The next part of the performance tune is our cylinder head. The cylinder head, the thing that sits on top of the block, which has the majority of the movable parts in a diesel engine, it's blueprinted, it's ported, it has bigger water jets, it's polished, it has stronger springs. So that's one of the things that's really important there, because what it's doing is it gives you the low range torque and mid range torque, and it's getting more cold water into that motor, and it's making the eruption actually, because the injectors are in it too. The next part is our injectors. Our injectors have been retooled. The spray pattern is better, and they're originally Bosch injectors. So that's the next part of the performance tune. The other part is the turbo. It's a VNT turbo, which means variable nozzle turbo, which is a modern technology, and it's much larger than the standard turbo. And that really helps the efficiency of it too. And then the next aspect of it is the exhaust system. So we put a lot of design into the exhaust. It has a 3-inch downpipe, so it gets rid of that exhaust much quicker. And then the silencer, it goes into a 2.5-inch, and then that's how it creates the back pressure. And then of course we do adjustment to the injection pump, meaning that we actually rebuild the injection pump and we change the spring rate of it. And that's what helps bring everything together. There's some other little things in there too, but I don't want to get too nerdy on it. So that's performance tuned. What it does is it pretty much doubles the horsepower. Normally the horsepower is 106, but horsepower is not what you measure a diesel on, it's the torque. And what the torque happens is we're actually quadrupling the torque when it comes to this motor. And that's one of the reasons that when you drive one of the Helderburgs versus another Defender, it just feels like it could actually jump because of all that torque and the way it will go. But it's a very smooth acceleration. Of course, now we got the motor, then we get into the sound deadening, the suspension, all of those elements too. So, all right, so I had some other questions that were passing, but I wasn't talking fast enough, so let me scroll down. All right, how many restorations do we do per year? Does Helderburg rebuild them and have more resale value than others? Great question. So how many restorations do we do per year? It varies on the type of builds, but just an average is, and there's two different numbers. On an average of what we do per year is around 50, because soft tops are a little faster. So 50 is an average. We're probably closer to the 40 range is where we're at, depending on how many soft tops we do. Helderburg resale value. Here's the hard part on that. I believe it does, based on what I've been told by other people that are in the industry. But here's the thing, that out of all of the ones that we've built, because we've built over 140 now, that only one of them has been sold. And it wasn't really sold. What happened is it was traded in for another one. So it was a D130 that was traded in for a D110. And the reason it was traded in is because the client actually, his dogs and his kids, and the D130 being a pickup truck didn't work so well because he didn't want to put the dog in the bed of the truck so the dog could jump out. So he traded it in. So I take it as a really good thing that everyone that, and I stay in contact with everyone that we've built the Defender for, that they still have them. They still have them, they still drive them, they still love them. What I can tell you is I have a number of clients though, that they started with one, then they built a second one, a third one, and a fourth one. And in fact, we have one client that is our, how do you say it, our frequent flyer client, and we're on his 6th build now. So, he's one where we've done 6 builds. I have a number of clients though that we are doing their 3rd or 4th build. So they hold on to them is the thing. And you're probably thinking, why does somebody need 6 Defenders or 3 Defenders or 4 Defenders? So generally it will start with like, I'm gonna get a D110, and they get a D110, and then it's like, now I want a D90 hard top, now I want a D90 soft top, now I want a D110 double cab, now I want a D130. So it really is a very slippery slope, that you get one and that just is not enough. And if you've ever come to visit me, you'll see that I've fallen down that slope. One is not enough when it comes to Defenders or motorcycles. So there you go. But I will tell you too that resale value, that we've had Barrett Jackson, the auction, constantly calling us, wanting us to put one of the Defenders in Barrett Jackson's auction, and we haven't been able to. That it's just not, all of our build slots are taken up, so I don't have time to build one just for an auction. I will tell you also though that we have 3, possibly 4 Defenders, probably 4, that are going on display for Orvis. And if you don't know Orvis, just Google Orvis. But they will be going to the various Orvis facilities, their shooting grounds. So the one is Millbrook, I think Millbrook, New York, which is downstate near Hudson. We'll have 3 or 4 of them there on display in September, and then it leaves from there, and then it goes to their shooting ground in Pennsylvania, and I forget the town, but it will be on they will be on display there for a bit. Then they leave from there, and then they go to Alabama, where they will be on display there. And in fact, we did build a Defender for Orvis for the president, CEO, or the CEO of Orvis, which was a D130. So there you go. All right, let me scroll up because we had some other questions in here. All right, how many people do we have working on the restoration of the Defenders, and is it all done in-house? Good question. Currently, we have 11 people, and we just hired 2 more. So yeah, we just hired 2 more, so we have 11 people. And where we're located, our shop is in England, and it's right there in the central hub, so our interior is close by. Our interior is not done in-house. We use an interior shop, and that's what they do. So interior is not done in-house, but everything else is done in-house. We do have a paint booth, a downdraft system, a mixing booth, so that's all done in-house. Our sandblasting is done in-house. Our etch primer done in-house. We do have basically a partner that we use that has all the milling machines. So like our door hinges, they do that. Our exhaust systems are done in-house. Even the hoses, the silicone hoses, are done in-house. So what else is there? The cylinder head is not done in-house. The cylinder head is actually done in Turkey. And turbo and intercooler is not done in-house. Andrew, friend of mine that's with Alley Sport, he does that for us. And but yeah, the build, all the body work, frame off, disassembly is all done in-house, and that's how you have the quality control. All right, so let me see, what other questions do we have? All right, so I answered that. All right, how many years have I been doing this? Oh, boy, you guys are wanting me to date myself here. My first offender was 9 years ago. And before it was Defenders, I was really, I was into Ferraris. So Ferrari was my big thing. And then before that was Porsche. So attention to detail on both of those, really critically important. But I grew up, I mean, and Defenders are, you know, doing this as my hobby. This is not my main job. I do business consulting. I help businesses grow through marketing and social media is what I do. So I do consulting. So, and I've done that for over 20 years, that part. I was a consultant for Lockheed Martin. I consult for the Danish government, the DI, the Danish Industries. I've done consulting for Boeing, Lexus, so a number of companies. That's what I do. This is a stress relief hobby for me, and was a great way for, you know, with my partner, and that we just create a great synergy is what happens. So I hope that answers that. But before, like I said, it was Ferraris, it was Porsche, and but it's all about attention to detail. I am thinking about doing this, and I really like motorcycles. I've done motorcycles too, but I'm thinking about doing motorcycles also, and thinking about it. So I'm actually talking to Norton, but we'll get into that later. Not important. All right, so what's the next one? Is there any part of the build done in New York? And the answer is yes. The part that's done in New York is the door panels. So in other words, the leather on the door is installed in New York. The audio is installed in New York. So like the Apple CarPlay, the stereo system, the backup camera is all done in New York. Reason being is the US is on a different frequency than the UK, so we do that. So done in New York. Backup camera, I already said that. Central door locks, power door windows, done in New York. All right, so there's that. Do we ship parts? We don't, because it's, you know, we're just not set up for that really. And, you know, we build the parts, you know, built to order based on the truck that we're building. So we've talked about shipping parts and selling parts, but it's, you know, I feel like it'd take away from what we're actually doing on our builds. So anyway, so I hope that helps. Sorry to ramble on that. All right, what is the average cost, Michael asked. That's a question I get a lot. What is the average cost? And there really isn't an average cost, but I'll kind of give you an idea of cost a little bit. The best way to see cost is to go to the website and look at the various builds. So for a D110 that's nicely equipped, you know, it optioned out nice. It's not, you know, top, you know, by any stretch, or, well, it's not top, but it's very nice. D110 is around 155, 160,000. That doesn't give you the performance brake system. That doesn't give you the performance tuned engine, but it gives you a very nice build. So that's average cost on a D90. A D130 is a little more, I mean, I'm sorry, that was a D110, 150, mid 150s for the D110. For a D130, you're about $10,000 more. And for a D90, for a nicely optioned one, you're around 125,000 is where you're at for a nicely optioned. And then I will say this too, the one thing that affects price is supply of the Defenders. And if you've followed me for a while, I know you've seen the prices going up and up and up. But Defenders have gone up in value this year alone by 35%. So for me to be able to go buy a Defender, I am paying 35% more than I paid last year. Last year I seen it go up by around 20%, and the year before was 20%, and the year before. So there's the Business Insider, Forbes, there's a number of different publications. There's also the International Car Collector Society that's valued, looking at the Land Rover Defender. The Land Rover Defender over the last 10 years has gone up in value by over 350%. It's outperformed the stock market. And the different magazines, like I said, Forbes and Business Insider is saying that it's one of the top 10 vehicles, and they've said this for the last 12 years now. It's one of the top 10 vehicles to purchase as an investment. I know that sounds kind of crazy, that buy a car as an investment, but I have a number of friends that's what they do, that they buy Ferraris, they buy Paganis, Lamborghini is not in there, sorry, a Lamborghini goes down in value. A Ferrari goes up in value, depending on which one it is. Pagani, beautiful car, goes up in value, not depending, just all of them do. And there's a number of cars. A Bugatti goes up in value, but Land Rover is part of that. I'm sure you've seen Broncos. The classic Bronco has gone up in value. There is no modern-made car that's increasing in value unless it's a supercar or a hypercar. So that talks about cost. So what do I think a D90 is going to sell for in a year? I think they're going to be close to 200,000, and a D110 is going to be 250. And the cost of the trucks are going up. The cost of interior is going up. So there's a number of factors that's increasing that price. But it is a good investment. It's one of the few investments when it comes to a vehicle that you can buy it, you can drive it as much as you want, and it does not depreciate. A Pagani, a Ferrari, a Bugatti, you put any miles on it and it actually goes down in value. You can't really drive them. And and if you've come to visit me, you know that, like, where I've got my Ferraris, and they just basically sit there because I don't want to put any miles on them, and which is sad. So that's why I will buy one, I'll drive it for about 3,000 miles, and then I sell it and get another one because I drive everything, I want to enjoy it. Sometimes I see that people make the snide comments on social media, but it's a Starbucks cruiser. Yeah, all right, dude. Yeah, Starbucks cruiser. Come hang out with me for a little bit, and let's see you soil your little panties when we take it off road. It's not a Starbucks cruiser. It's a vehicle to be enjoyed. And I don't mean that vulgar or rude, but I just get so tired of people being judgmental like that when they don't know. They're fabulous vehicles. They're fun. So anyway, that's my soapbox. I'm sorry to get on a soapbox like that. All right. So the question is, are the series any good investments? So let me clarify. You have Defender. So Defender was after the series truck. Previous to the Land Rover Defender was the Land Rover series. Series 2, Series 2A, Series 3. Really cool looking vehicles. However, the series vehicles do not really, they increase in value somewhat, not at the rate that a Defender does. And if you've ever driven a series, then they're kind of hard to drive as a daily driver. They don't have enough power, different suspension, not the most comfortable. They're noisy, but they are ultra cool, but demand is just not there. So you could get a series, and I've had people ask us to do series on a restoration, or actually they want a series, they want us to do the restoration on a series, and I always talk them out of it. And if there's one thing that my clients will tell you, I won't tell you what you want to hear, I will tell you what's important to hear. And I've had people say, let's do a series. And I'm like, you're going to put more money in this truck than you will ever get out of it. Because at the end of the day, the paint is the paint, the body work is the body work, and the leather is the leather, and so on and so forth. It's just going to cost a lot of money to do it right. So anyway, so that's all important to do. Another question. So when someone's interested in buying a Defender, I always like them to come visit, come spend time with me, or definitely have a conversation on the phone. I get a number of people that will email me a bunch of questions, and it gets to the point of just the emails of the questions that I just quit answering it, or they'll text me because I put my phone number everywhere, and I just quit answering it. Because what I do is, I'm sorry, this is old school, but I try to get them on the phone or get them here to visit, because it's important for me to talk to them and make sure this is the right vehicle for them. And I've turned away a lot of people on builds, and I don't mean that arrogant, but I'm getting old, and like a friend of mine says, I have a stick up my ass, and meaning that I'm grouchy. And yeah, I get grouchy that I want to make sure that it's right for that person. So when people start asking me, crazy questions and trying to compare it to a Mercedes-Benz AMG GTR and stuff, I'm like, this isn't for you. It's not. It's a lifestyle, guys. It really is. And so there you go. All right, what other questions do you have? And I won't harp on the lifestyle too much, but all right. As you're thinking about your questions, here's another thing. I don't know if you guys seen the video, and did you see the box that's in the back of Elizabeth? So we almost have that finished. I am going to meet with the upholstery the tannery tomorrow. So we have a tannery that's local here. The tannery that does my seats, though, just so you know, I have one that's in Scotland and one that's in Italy. But for the box in the back of Elizabeth, which you can call it a storage box or a shooter's box, meaning that it has a drawer where you can put 2 shotguns in and your cleaning rods and ammo and all that stuff. So those are full blown. We are building those now. We can do them in walnut, we can do them in mahogany, we can do them in whatever type of wood. So they are hand built, custom built, and I will tell you, absolutely beautiful. So all done. Keswick behind me and Verboska Blue behind me. No, actually, Verboska Blue, the mahogany floor will be going in hopefully this upcoming week. So you will get to see the pictures. I'll get it into the studio and get pictures of the mahogany cargo floor, which I'm excited to do that. That's going to be fabulous. And then I'll be talking to JB. JB owns the Keswick one here, and I'm talking to him on Tuesday. So we're going to talk about the audio system, the backup camera. I know he's wanting power windows, power door locks, and he's probably going to want a mahogany floor too. So hopefully he does, because the mahogany with that chestnut brown leather interior will be beautiful. So anyway, all right. Any other questions, guys? It's been a busy day today, and can you see the shine on Elizabeth? Full detail today. So it shines, every square inch shines. It's when my Defenders are all clean, I just love them that much more. I don't know what it is, but the leather's been treated, went over it with the leather honey. It's all vacuumed out. The carpets are shampooed. The paint's all waxed up. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. All right, well, if you guys don't have any more questions, it doesn't seem that you do, or there's a delay, or I'm missing it, or I might have missed somebody's questions. If I missed your question, I apologize. I'm sorry. But June 18th through the 20th here on the farm in Sharon Springs, New York, which I am 3 hours from New York City, 3 hours from Boston. The local airport, if you want to fly in, is Albany International, so Albany, New York. So come on in, fly in, come spend the time. You can camp out, you can stay in a hotel, whatever. Another question is, do I have any interest of G-Wagons? No, not really. I think they're beautiful. Don't get me wrong. I think they're beautiful. I love the look of a G-Wagon, the classic ones. I love the look of an International Scout or a classic Bronco. Like all of those, but I don't want to be jumping all around. So, and I just, there's so much more for me to accomplish with the Land Rover Defenders. Motorcycles, I could see doing that. I would love to do Jaguar XKEs, but there's only so many hours in a day, and quite honestly, I mean, I'm taking orders for Defenders now in 2023. So I have a couple slots in 2022, and what determines taking the orders to go out in the 2023, it depends on how exotic the build is going to be. So if the build is going to be really, a detailed build, then that would move somebody into 2023. We have 7 slots left in 2023, and I have 3 slots left in 2022. So really cool. Question is, do I deliver to Australia? Absolutely, mate. We do, and so we can Australia, not a problem. And we deliver to Australia. We've got one that's going to Russia. I forget the exact area where in Russia. I know that sounded silly, but we've got one going to Dubai. So all over. And all right. So Michael asked, "How am I liking the Gullwing windows and shelves?" Well, I think it's really cool, to be honest. Steve was visiting, and he said, "Oh, it looks like a what did he say? It looks like a plumber's truck." And I'm like, "Oh, a British plumber's truck. Thanks, buddy." But no, I like it. They're really usable, and I don't know if you guys seen this. Let me show you. Hold on. I'm going to be right back. Hold on. All right, I know I'm limping still, leg. All right, so the Gullwing windows on Elizabeth. So what we're talking about, it's not window, it's metal that flips up, really usable, gives you a lot more space. But this is what's going in the one side. So on the one side is going to be my coffee tea maker, is what this is. So let me move it back because you can see it on Instagram, couldn't see it on Facebook. So here's my coffee tea maker that's going in. 50 amps. This pulls some power. So that's what I'm really excited about. And it just, let me read this to you, by the way. This is from the UK. And it says, "Do not dispense drinks whilst, W-H-I-L-S-T, the vehicle is in motion. Do not remove this label." So just in case you were curious, I won't be making any tea or coffee for you while we were driving down the road. So I do like the windows. It is cool. It gives some more storage, and they're very nice. They're nice quality, nice heavy metal, and on the inside it's got the wooden boxes that go over the wheel wells, so a lot of storage. So on the left side is where my coffee tea maker and then my china will go, my man china, my coffee cups. And then on the other side, it's just a lot of good storage where I have my shotgun case and all that. And then in the rear, I have my big wood, it's maple and walnut, to store my shotguns and the ammo. So it's definitely, I like it. I like it a lot. I think it's just, the design is really coming together. Not done yet. I'm still waiting for the new steering wheel for Elizabeth. The steering wheel is all walnut. There's no rivets in it. It's bigger, thicker piece of walnut. It's one solid piece of walnut. And then with the billet aluminum center hub, it's going to be spectacular. Okay, so there you go. Sorry, Michael, you got me all excited asking about the gull-wing doors. All right. Somebody else asked, what do your Defenders cost starting point? It depends. D90, D110, D130. To go see the prices, just go to the website and you'll see the prices of where they go, where their starting points. Okay. So another question. I have a 1999 TD5 that's done almost 400,000 kilometers. Just thinking how to make it a bit nicer. Maybe it's time for an interior refresh. That will always make it feel nicer. New carpet and get those seats recovered, depending on, just change up the colors inside. New headliner. That will make it a nice refresh. So there you go. All right, guys. Any other questions? Going once. June 18th through the 20th, if you can make it, do come make it. So we're going to have trails on the property. We are going to do Scottish trials. And if you haven't done a Scottish trial will allow you to basically use your street vehicle with street tires, and you drive through some bamboo sticks. It's slow speed, non-damaging, but you drive through the bamboo sticks. You can do it in a Mini Cooper. It doesn't make a difference. Michael, I'm talking about you, buddy. But you drive through the sticks, and it's slow speed. How can you maneuver it? So we have an easy course, and then we have a more difficult course. It's on a decline, incline, different canter and all that, but it won't hurt your vehicle. So that'll be a lot of fun. We have axe throwing. You can bring your fishing pole, and you can do some fishing. We have the sporting clay range. With a number, we have battelle targets, rabbit targets, we have all that. Go for walks in the woods. We have the bonfires at night. We will have a cookout, thinking about having a band. We will have yoga and meditation in the morning. We will be in the trucks and on the trails. We will go to breakfast together. You can camp, you can stay in a tent, you can book a hotel, so there's a lot to do. So hopefully you can make it. It's well worth it, but we have hundreds of acres, and the views are spectacular. At least I think they are, because rolling hills and trees and all that, it's just beautiful. We will also have time that you will have the opportunity to book your time to be with the horses. So, because we have an indoor riding arena that's, a couple 100 feet long and whatever width. So we'll be in the arena, and we will also be outside in one of the pastures in the outdoor arena. So you'll book your time with the horses to be able to brush the horses, learn about the horses, ride the horses, to possibly ride the horses. But you'll be with Christy on that and learn about how the horses interact. And I'm hoping, no, we won't have it by June, but we're trying to get the additional fencing done to bring Highland cows in. So anyway, there you go. All right, guys, it's 7:09 Sunday night. I appreciate you hanging out with me tonight. And if you've got any questions, if I can help you, talk to you about a bespoke build, or if you need help on your build or whatever, just reach out to me. More than happy to help you. And I will talk to you soon. So now I'm going to do the weird thing of ending the call. So talk to you soon. So Instagram goes first. See you guys. Have a good night.